Shadows, the horror movie heroes, by Clouds. Read by Distracted by Books. Chapter 20, Deception. Kyoka ran a little ahead of Midoriya as they left the warehouse behind. That had been the most chaotic thing she'd ever experienced, but even so, Kyoka skidded to a stop when she heard a gun cock behind her. Midoriya, what are you doing? Making sure you understand the plan, Midoriya said simply. Kyoka hummed skeptically. And why does that require pointing a gun at me? It's insurance, just in case you don't agree, Midoriya explained, and so you know what will happen if you don't follow the plan. Oh, Kyoka asked, and what is the plan? You're not going to tell Sparky that we're the ones who killed his mom, Midoriya began. Well, obviously not, Kyoka scoffed. I thought Shinso was offing him right now. No, he's more useful alive, Midoriya said thoughtfully. A quirk like that has so much potential, and I want to see what he can do with it. Kyoka slowly turned to look at him. Then why not keep them both alive? Because I can't manipulate a pro-hero, Midoriya said, at least not for long. Her son, however, is a different story. So you're going to use him? Kyoka asked. And then what? That depends on how long he stays useful, Midoriya shrugged. We told you before the exercise even began that we didn't care who he stabbed in the back. Yeah, and you weren't lying, Kyoka sighed. So what, if I tell him you killed his mom, you'll kill me? Yep, Midoriya smiled. And since he won't listen to us if he knows, then you'll kill him too. Kyoka finished. You're not giving me much of a choice here, are you? Well, Midoriya gestured to the gun. You do have two options. Kyoka thought for a moment. She might be able to control him into letting her go, but Midoriya had eyes everywhere, and it wouldn't take him long to find her again. And that was only if she could get away in the first place. He seemed to know how her quirk worked even better than she did, so he probably had already come up with a way to counter it. It seemed like a jerk move to lie to Sparky like that, but at the same time, why was she here? Her main goal, really her only goal, was to practice using One for All and learn how to use it better. So it only made sense to stick around as long as she could and get advice from the crazy quirk analyst, even if he was currently threatening her with a gun. Plus, she was supposed to be acting like a villain anyway, right? So, Midoriya prompted, are we on the same page? Kyoka deflated. Yeah. Now can we get going? We're wasting time. Okay. Did we accidentally hire middle school mob bosses? Mike threw up his hands in the air. Like, where did we even get these kids? They volunteered. Aizawa shot back. They look like they're having fun at least, Midnight pointed out. Cementos grimaced. I'm not sure that's a good thing. Look at how easily they took out a pro-hero. If they decided to become real villains... Well then, it's a good thing they've applied to our hero course then, Nedzu chirped. Aizawa groaned. Problem children. Toshinori listened to the exchange nervously. He was starting to regret approving young Jiro's participation in the exercise. The more he thought about it, the more it seemed like a terrible idea for the future symbol of peace to pretend to be a villain for a week. He had thought that she wouldn't be too impacted by it, seeing as she was a future hero, but this villain duo, Shadows, had come out of nowhere and knocked the entire plan off the rails. He tapped on Gran Torino's shoulder nervously and gestured toward the hall. The old geezer rolled his eyes, but followed Toshinori when he stood and left. He could feel Nedzu's curious eyes on them, and that made him as nervous as ever. But he was the symbol of peace. He wasn't about to be stopped just because the principal might judge him. The door snapped shut behind him, and Gran Torino crossed his arms. So, Toshinori, what is this about? We're missing the show. I'm concerned about young Jiro. Toshinori answered honestly. I think we should instruct her to pull out of the exercise. We can't do that, and you know it. Gran Torino shook his head. What, you can't stand to see your successor threatened? You know that as a hero she'll face danger all the time. It's not that. Ah, so it's those boys. Gran smiled teasingly. The shadows. They're corrupting her, Toshinori insisted. They're downright villainous. Which is what the exercise calls for. Grand held his hands up in surrender. Look, I don't know what those boys have planned or what they're trying to accomplish, but that green kid is a genius when it comes to quirks. And with her new quirk development, having a brainwasher to guide her is invaluable. Are you really considering taking her away from a resource like that? Toshinori sagged his shoulders. Why did it have to be brainwashing? It's so... Stop right there, Gran interrupted. If you judge her or start calling her a villain just because of the manifestation of the quirk that you gave her, then you may as well quit your job as a teacher now. You, nothing. Gran punched his arm. You got a lot to learn about teaching and working with teenagers, got it? So why don't you sit back and learn something for once? You're right. Toshinori surrendered. Let's go back inside. Denki wasn't sure what to think of his new friend, ally, person who had saved him from a group of superheroes. Hey, now that they were a street or two away from the fight and his new companion had taken off his mask, Denki wasn't as afraid of actually talking to his rescuer. You never told me your name. The kid stopped running and gave Denki an appraising glance. You can call me Shadows for now. That's such a cool name! Denki grinned as Shadows almost smiled. Does that mean I'll get your real name later? Maybe, Shadows said evasively. And you're Sparky, right? Denki blushed. That's just what Mom calls me. My name is Kaminari. Shadows looked around. The rendezvous point is just a little farther. Come on, let's get going. The others will be there soon. He started running again, and Denki scrambled after him. So who are these others? Are they the same friends who are helping my mom? Yep. Shadow skidded to a stop and lifted up a manhole cover. This is the place. Denki gulped. This place is almost as creepy as you are, dude. I'll take that as a compliment. Shadow sounded like he was smiling. We had to find some place the heroes wouldn't look. Shadows didn't say anything else, just jumped down into the tunnel and expected Denki to follow. But that just made Denki even more curious about the whole thing. Just who was this kid? He seemed about the same age as Denki, but Shadows just gave off this air of mystery that was just as intriguing as it was intimidating. Hey, do you know who was shooting at us earlier? Denki asked. That was pretty scary too. Shadows waited a moment before answering. There were people shooting? I think we arrived after that. Oh, Denki frowned. They're who my mom went after, so I was just curious. There was a sound of soft footsteps above them, and Denki tensed as someone removed the manhole cover. Two people dropped down, a shorter kid whose outfit matched Shadows, and an attractive girl with purple hair. He waited a moment for his mom to drop down after them, but she didn't. Maybe Shadows had other friends who were helping her. He seemed cool enough that he must have tons of friends. How did it go? Shadows asked. Any issues? The heroes didn't see us, the boy reported. I never thought I'd be grateful for having to avoid bullies, but I gotta say it's effective stealth practice. So, you guys are Shadow's friends? Denki interrupted. So when are the others getting here? Shinso frowned. Others? Yeah, Denki said. The ones who were supposed to be helping my mom? The boy's face fell, and he reached into his pocket. I'm sorry. The heroes, we just weren't fast enough. He took his hand out of his pocket, and Denki's blood ran cold as he recognized his mom's token. They killed her? Heroes, Especially young ones aren't the best at controlling their powers. The boy grimaced. I I don't think they meant to, but it was just enough for the teachers to call it a fatality. That's Danky took the token. But she's so strong. I'm sorry. Shadows put a hand on his shoulder. We need to get moving. Once the heroes finish off the villains at the warehouse, they'll be coming after us next. Right. Danky wiped his eyes to get rid of the beginning of tears and nodded. Shadows is right. We should get moving. Shadows? The girl slapped Shadow's arm. You only gave him your villain name? Shadows shrugged. He didn't need to know. The girl rolled her eyes. I'm sorry. These two like to call themselves shadows, but they also enjoy being needlessly ominous and mysterious all the time. The tall one is Shinso, and the short one is Midoriya. Don't get on either of their bad sides. Oh, and now who's being needlessly ominous? Shadows, Shinso, shot back. What can I say? Jiro smiled. I learned from the best. Now let's get out of here. Mirio was tired by the time they got back to the hero agency. They'd figured out that most of the people they'd taken down weren't heroes at all, but instead civilians who had gotten caught up in a hostage situation. So they'd probably get points docked for that. They had managed to take down the Rose villain, but even after searching several blocks surrounding the warehouse, they weren't able to find the electric villain or the one who'd shot up the place. All that, and they only had one arrest and an objective to protect. It was okay, though. That's more than they would have had without the anonymous tip, so Mirio supposed they had a new ally going for them as well. Guys, thank goodness you're back! Shin ran to them as they walked into the door. We found Hanzu's token. He's dead! End of chapter.